Welcome to Never Too Early, a YouTube series focused on unconventional talent insights for founders. I'm Lauren Ipsen, talent partner at Decibel, and this is my founder therapy series. In this series, we'll be talking to executives that have recently embarked on their founder journey. We'll talk through early learnings, misconceptions, a whole lot more. So, with that being said, I am super excited to introduce my guest today, Maria Zhang. Maria was formerly the VP of Engineering at Google. Prior, she was the GM of AI at Meta, the VP of Engineering at LinkedIn, the CTO at Tinder, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on. So this is a woman that has absolutely seen and built at scale. She recently embarked on her founder journey and came out of stealth this past week, starting her new company, Palona AI. Maria, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you. I'm fantastic. Thank you for making this work. I know we've been going back and forth on this for a little bit, and you were busy launching a company, weren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we just came out of stealth. Palona AI is the name of the company. And today's a special day. It's the Lunar New Year for New Year. So I'm wearing red and Happy New Year.
Oh, I love it. Lots and lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it's probably been a crazy week and a half for you.
Yeah.
You came out of stealth with an AI agent company that you've been working on for about a year. And
Not
then,
quite for a few months. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then DeepSeek has also decided to take over the internet. So
Yeah.
lots of crazy things happening. Walk me through
Yeah.
the roller coaster of emotions and just kind of how you're feeling overall.
Yeah. So, yes, I got so many calls about DeepSeek. It's actually not news to me. My one of my co-founder, our chief scientist, Steve, Professor Liu, actually collaborated with this company before, and so we always knew about DeepSeek and kind of had visibility into their benchmarks. Right, the key advancement, how they achieve this cheaper cost and better performance and so forth, really, to me, is distillation. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
my company, we also have tried this methods. It's highly effective.
Yeah.
And so I'm just glad to see the advancement of this technology overall, both on the kind of the general intelligence side, better reasoning, higher quality, but also on the efficiency side, right? How do we reduce the cost of inference, cost of training, and distillation is a very effective method. But that
Mhm.
said, right, I think there's still value in scaling up, right? I don't think
Mhm.
we're plateaued in terms of achieving, better quality models and higher level of intelligence. I don't feel like now all we can do is looking at how do we scale down. And I think this kind of progress is happening on both ends. So in my opinion, maybe it's a little bit of overreaction of
Mhm.
oh, like what's going to happen to NVIDIA, right? I think that scaling upside still have a long way to go as well.
Yeah, agreed. We feel the same. Do you think it changes anything around go to market for your product or, how you're thinking about continuing to build your own AI agent product? Or do you think that it's just, you know, really more kind of wind in the sails and something that will blow over the course of the next couple months?
Yeah, it's actually very much in line with what we anticipated. We
Mhm.
always had expected the cost will come down, right? And this is just
Yeah.
one way to achieve it. And there are, a few other methods, but just in general, it confirmed our belief that the cost will come down, and this would enable us as an application provider, as a service provider, right, to potentially even offer lower cost of service to all of our customers and make this technology more widely available.
Yeah. So it seems like net positive in your mind
Yes,
as a founder.
it's a
Okay.
net positive, but I do think it's a little bit of blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
news cycle, right? Is that what they
that's
call
the world we live in, you
it?
know?
Yeah,
Everything has to be a little blown out of proportion in
yeah,
this
yeah.
world. So, okay, cool. Talk to the listeners a little bit about the product that you've built and how you got here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, this company we started really with science and technology. Both Tim Halls, our CTO, Steve Liu, Professor Liu, our chief scientist, I mean, we all came from a computer science background, and all of us worked at big tech companies, either as Meta or Google or Samsung, and leading, large teams to advance this technology. And when we came together, we thought, okay, we can make this technology more available and solve more use cases, right? So as you can tell, it's a multi-use case platform that we built, and we're really serving this um, consumers in the everyday purchase, everyday transactions to really bring delights to these consumers. And on the other side, we're bringing in a breath of life to these consumer brands. Yeah, so we have Pizza My Heart, we have Mind Zero, that's a fitness studio focusing on contrast therapy, and then Wise, that's a home automation, home security company. But what's in common with all these customers is they were able to create this AI agent that has a personality, has a character, has a backstory, and they're serving their customers 24/7 with patience, with delight, with full knowledge base, not only about their product, also about kind of the overall domain. I really believe this is the future for brands to connect with their customers and kind of restore that brand loyalty and one-to-one connection from brand to
Mm-hmm.
consumer that were reduced when platformization, right? Either it's Amazon or Uber Eats, right? Has removed that direct connection, right, from
Mm-hmm.
a store or a brand to the end customers.
Very, very cool. How did you determine that this was something where you felt like there was a gap in the market and you just decided to obsess over it and create this company? Like what ultimately got you to feel like, okay, we can't just have agents that are operating without empathy and without a real kind of backstory or personality?
Yeah, yeah. So, 100% true story. It's actually two track that happened in parallel. On one
Mhm.
side, we were doing research, right? We created this EQ benchmark human likeness, and we published this, right? We just thought the industry needed this, and we just thought this is a positive thing to do to advance not just ourselves, but the entire industry. And in parallel, I went down this journey and talked with over 100 businesses, right? Both
Oh
through
my goodness.
introductions and trade shows, and just really follow this consumer purchase, consumer behavior, right? We want to build, I call it 2C to B company. We want to really delight the consumers, and then we serve the business.
I like that.
Yeah, just kind of following the whole journey, and then the pattern emerged. And we see there's a very clear pain point. It's actually quite acute, right? From a pizza store, right? Not having someone to answer the phone calls. I actually visited, many pizza stores, and I was talking with the employees there, and they was like, "Yeah, please have AI answer the phone. I got pizza in the
Yeah,
oven. I'm looking at a line of hungry people in front of me. When the phone rings, it gives me anxiety attack."
of
Yeah, so I
course.
see. Okay, this is what's needed. This is really helpful to I talked to like CMO of a great consumer product, and then they say we sell through Amazon, and then I feel like my brand is just so diluted. People just remember they bought this on Amazon, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they really want to kind of have this tool and then a new venue where they can build that connection as a brand to their customers. Yeah, so these patterns emerged, and then we built a solution. And I have to say, I'm very fortunate. I get the opportunity to work with all these three launch partners. They're all just
Yeah.
fabulous and very strong business. All have brilliant brands, high quality products. Yeah, so it's kind of
Hmm.
a journey that led to the launch last week.
Amazing. Yeah, those are fun early adopters that you got to work with. I wish I would have known that you were specifically targeting pizza restaurants. I don't know if you knew that my family owns 10 pizza restaurants.
Oh my gosh! All right, this is
So
turning into a sales call now.
exactly. I
Yeah,
had no idea. So now that I
yeah,
know, I'm like, okay, I have firsthand growing up been in that position where I'm looking at a line of people. I'm supposed to be working with them, but then the phone keeps ringing
yeah.
and we've been told many, many times when the phone's ringing, you're supposed to answer that right away because
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
are paying customers too.
Yeah,
And someone could be walking
exactly.
up
It's
asking for a
just
water.
that's lost revenue. That's lost revenue. And then we also support text. Oh, you should see the reaction. We did a user study for the
Yeah.
university. Everybody's out. I want to text, right? Because the
Yeah.
people just don't even like to call, and they can text and order your pizza and be done with it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think we really try to bring delights, right, and convenience both to the consumers and also to the store owners. Yeah, I love to talk
So
with your
fun.
family that
I
if see if
know.
we
Okay.
could
Yeah. Well,
help with our pizza stores.
okay.
Yeah,
After this, we'll follow up and I'll
yeah,
connect you. And then
yeah.
if that comes together, I will take 2%.
Thank you. No, no, no. Yeah, you definitely get the family, friends discount, the whole shebang.
Okay, cool. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
No, that could be incredibly beneficial for them for sure. Very, very cool. How did you determine that kind of the hospitality industry or these specific areas across the board were going to be, the target ICP or where you felt like you were going to benefit the most from having agents that really kind of had a story and were able to have more of a personality to them?
Yeah, yeah. So I did a full spectrum exploration, I would say, right? I just
Mhm.
really follow the consumer behavior, the categories of purchases consumers make, and a couple criteria is like where we can be more delightful, and where it matters, or the brand loyalty matters, and then the other is frequency, because with consumer behavior change, right? We really expect to see there's going to be consumer behavior change. And you and I talked about how we use ChatGPT or
Yeah.
Gemini or whatever, like it really on a daily basis, right? That change had happened so fast, right? So disruptive,
Mhm.
but we haven't seen the rest of the kind of the consumer behavior kind of follow up to catch up to that, and we believe
Yeah.
that they will, and then we want to look for these high frequency usage, right? Like, kind of I'm booking a session at the gym I go to, or kind of pizza and so forth, right? A way more frequent than,
Right.
say healthcare or other categories.
Cool. Yeah, I think that makes really good sense. Let's talk about you a little bit. So, you
Mhm.
have been operating at scale for a very long time in your career, running huge teams, working for big name brands. What was the transition like when you decided to start a company? Like, what were the biggest learnings, things that no one had told you, things you wish you would have known? How has the journey been over the past couple months, building with a team of three instead of
Yeah.
what you were operating at?
Yeah, yeah. So I absolutely love it. I think it's the best decision as I've ever made. And of course, together with my two very dear friends, Steve and Tim, and I would not have done it without their support and without this team coming together. And of course, the rest of the team. Now we are, 25 people, and I'm just kind of so grateful and so proud of this team together. Yeah, so I've always kind of switched between back and forth, big companies, big company, small company. So it wasn't the first time I made this jump. I left Microsoft back in 2010 and started a company that's kind of the trend of mobile. iPhone 4 came out. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this now.
Mm,
And that experience, I would say, as a founder, as ignorance was a bliss. I just didn't know much, and I just went for it.
I love
And
it.
it was very fortunate. I think we built a great product, and the company was acquired by Yahoo in 2013. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, so in the last few years, I have learned a ton, right? At these, the largest tech companies, in terms of, like you said, how do you operate at scale? How do you be a strong leader? How do you manage efficiency, and how do you collaborate and find alignment and cross functionally, cross departments? Yeah. So I have to say, those are big jobs, and they were very hard. It was very challenging. It was very difficult. It wasn't easy at all.
Yeah.
It's actually not that different to work at a big company and then to start it's both are very hard. Yeah, so yeah, it's very challenging. But personally, I feel just so rewarding this experience, and very fulfilled. especially, from just, you can see on our website, all three customers gave testimonial. It's just so heartfelt. Just honestly almost brought me to tears when I hear these words from them. And like the pizza shop, they say, we welcome Jimmy to join our team. Jimmy is the AI character that answers phone and text, and he's a surfer. He's got a whole persona behind him. Yeah, it's just so fulfilling. And then, of course, the other part is just, we built a very awesome team rather quickly. As you know, it's
Yeah.
very hard. It's very challenging to pull a team together. But I'm just, very, very grateful and very happy to be operating a lot faster, as you can imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah, although we have a
absolutely.
small team, but we can move really fast. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Talk to me about how you determined, okay, these are the people that I want to start a company with, and how they might have, complementary skill sets, or, where you've determined each person can kind of draw their line in the sand and take ownership.
Yeah, it happened very organically.
Hmm.
And both Tim and Steve I know for a long time, right? And it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to start a company, I'm going to find. It didn't happen like that at all.
Yeah.
So Professor Liu and I know each other for a very long time, and we collaborated. At Tinder, he took a sabbatical and he was the chief scientist at Tinder. And we actually won AI award back in 2017. We applied computer vision recommender system and really a lot of very sophisticated AI work to improve the experience for Tinder users, right? So he and I are also very good friends, and we talk often. So I call it the Professor Lu office hour, right?
Oh,
Like he and I would talk about legislation. We would talk about the latest trends, algorithms, and then it kind of just came to us together, right, at this stage in life, and also just being experts in this technology. How do we want to apply our expertise and energy, right? And yeah, we just kind of say, okay, let's do this. And Tim first invested in the company as an angel investor, and then and advisor. And I think I keep asking him for help, and he just kind of jumped in full time. So he went from
he's like,
yeah.
look, Maria, this is a full-time job.
Yes, yes. Of course, I also, very much
You
welcomed
did a
him
great
to,
job. That's how we court our long-term candidate goals, right? We just bring them
yeah.
in as advisor and give them so much work that they have no other
Give
option.
him so much more. Yeah, he's also very passionate about both the technology and also the problems we're solving. And team is absolutely brilliant. And also, he was my manager at Yahoo, so that's how we
Oh,
met.
amazing.
Yeah, after my startup was acquired, his startup Rockmelt was also acquired by Yahoo, and he was my manager. And I really owe like the later part of the success of my career to him, just tons of coaching, mentoring. I would say I was quite immature back then.
I don't
But like,
believe it.
yeah, I was very immature. Yeah, and then
We'll show you
I think,
immature.
yeah, I think Tim like saw what's best in me. I didn't even see myself, and it really kind of instilled confidence and gave me tons of coaching, mentoring. He's also just like one of the best mentors, and we stayed in touch. And I think he's always been a mentor advisor for me for all these years. And when I told him, "Hey, I'm gonna do this startup," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm writing a check," and then a couple months later, he's like, "Let's do this together."
That's so
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
For folks that maybe haven't necessarily had those kind of natural organic relationships where they've worked with people a long time and they've just kind of come to fruition and decided to start something together, what are some different things that you might recommend that people look for in your founding colleagues? Are there different things that you feel like are really important in the early days to have around you, as every day is kind of a moving target?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, one thing in my case, right, I'm very lucky. There's just a long-term relationship and very deep level of trust and easy to communicate with each other. Like all these were great, but
Mm-hmm.
but maybe they're not necessary. I think they're luxury to have. but complementary skills definitely help, right? Even look at the three of us, right? Although we're all kind of computer science graduates, but we all have different areas of focus. Steve is a professor, so he leads our research team. He's a scientist, more on the algorithm side, and kind of, how do we, advance kind of research, benchmarking, evaluation, so on and so forth, and really stay in the forefront, right, of this rapidly evolving world of computer science and technology. And Tim is our CTO. He's just bring this vast experience of running large scale infrastructure. Yeah, and kind of how do you bring these algorithms to production, with the most sophisticated infrastructure. And also he has decades of experience actually serving enterprise customers, right? So he also has that enterprise SaaS experience that at Ops Cloud at HP. And at Meta, he actually ran the ML infra team, right? So, yeah, so we get kind of the algorithm and then the kind of the infra and enterprise service. Then I came in with actually a lot of experience in consumer experiences, right? Either it's Tinder or it's Instagram. And so we kind of bring all of this together. So we do have a complementary skill set.
So when you think about what the remaining team members that you need will look like and how you're going to acquire great go-to-market talent, what are the types of things that you're indexing on or things that you're looking for in those types of hires?
This is me being very transparent and very
Yeah.
vulnerable. Like the answer is like I don't know. Yeah, I'm learning. I'm trying to get more advice. I'm meeting with uh, people that are the best at what they do. They're the best in this
Hmm.
industry in terms of enterprise product marketing and sales, account management, customer success. Right, like I want to have an idea of what good looks like, right? And then kind of even the job description, no kidding, I rewrote the job description like 15 times. I still don't feel like I get the right job description. Yeah, so far we have not hired anyone on the go-to-market side, and we're actively looking and talking to folks both in marketing, sales, business development,
Yeah.
all these areas. How can we bring this amazing experience to more businesses and to more customers?
Well, we can kind of start workshopping it now if it would be helpful. And it's something that you and I can work through offline as
Yeah,
well. But I think
yeah,
it's something that I think is, a very common thing that our founders come up against. We work with deeply technical founders. They love to build, they love to just, create something incredible. And at the end of the day, no matter how amazing your product is, it needs to have a go to market motion and
yeah,
you need to determine like the process in which you want to sell and who your target audience is.
yeah,
And those first few hires can be so difficult because they can look a lot of different ways. You could bring in, someone that has all of the experience that you do, but on the revenue side of the house, but someone that's, managed teams and seen everything from 1 to 100, or you could bring in someone that's like a founding AE
yeah,
and really just kind of cold calling and getting quick responses in the market, right?
yeah.
Um, on the marketing side, yeah, do we need a product marketer? Do we need someone? Usually, I would say it's more product marketing to start,
Mhm.
and then you kind of continue to branch out into more of like demand gen focused work, but it or PLG dependent on
Yeah,
the product and what makes the most sense. But it's a learning curve, and those are things that I think it's the process of writing a JD is incredibly helpful but also can be hurtful because it's like,
yeah,
shoot, you
yeah.
start looking for something that you don't know exists, or you write something down and then you're
Hmm.
like, wait, that's actually not that important to me.
Yep.
And really the best thing you can do is what you're doing, which is just meeting people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And calibrating and learning what good looks like because good could look a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Right? Like it could be
Yeah.
someone that all they do, there's certain VPs of sales that I talk to, and all they do is seed to series A. Like that's what they love. And once they get to a place where they feel like there's product market fit, and, they've got the first million or so in revenue, they get less compelled. That's just not, it's kind of the scale game is less of their interest, and they like kind of working through the quirks of determining the target audience. And then there's other folks obviously that are completely, on the other end of the spectrum, where they're like, I would prefer to not try and figure out my
Yeah.
ICP. And I would
Yeah.
actually really strongly prefer that
Hmm.
component's figured out by the CEO or the founder,
Yeah.
and then bring me in when you've got a million in revenue,
Yeah.
and I can
Yeah.
take it and scale it from there.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of finding that perfect person. And sometimes there's not always a perfect job description for it,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for your advice. It's super, super helpful. It's
Of course.
I definitely agree 100% with what you said. And me wordsmithing that job description actually doesn't help much. It's never right, right?
It's a
Yeah,
starting
yeah,
place though,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
you have to start somewhere. And then I think sometimes even more helpful for me than a job description is creating, a scorecard, and
Mm,
having it be a bit more, there's numbers to everything, but making sure that the must haves are there. And then what are the nice to haves? Because there's probably a lot of nice to haves right now,
yeah,
right? Where,
yeah.
maybe this person
Must.
doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to have that 0 to 1 experience, but
Mm-hmm.
they need to have an entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so these are the types of things where it's just kind of getting more granular on, this is exactly what I need. Or if they've sold into the world of hospitality before, or
Mm-hmm.
they understand this space, that's a
Yeah.
nice to have. Or, maybe it's a must have for you. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think just kind of working through some of that and then providing scores can
Yeah.
help, because, you know, there's a lot of people that could be excellent that
Yeah.
might not on paper be
Yeah.
perfect, if that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
on that note, right, the other part I'm sure you see is as founders at this stage of the company, how do they um, allocate their time and prioritize, right? Um, um, full honesty, I'm probably not spending enough time on the recruiting side because we all, the three founders, we all really believe in kind of founder-led sales. This is
Yeah.
also kind of advice that we receive from our investors and others, right? So, mostly Tim and I, we're actually really on the road, and every week we have, like a dozen customer calls, yeah, at
I
various
love that.
stages. We actually have a full pipeline, just through introductions and some inbound, yeah. So I do feel like, okay, I gotta talk to the customer, but I do need to build that team, like how do I balance this? Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I think that was something I wanted to talk to you about, was just like how you prioritize all of the different things that you need to do. And
yep,
ultimately, this is something that I think, obviously, this is different from being a VP of engineering at a large organization, is, kind of doing a little bit of everything, being a
yep,
Renaissance woman, having
yes,
to
absolutely.
having to, do
Yeah,
cold calls.
yes,
So talk to me about, and obviously you did it before when you started a company too. So talk to me about, like, the way that you've gone about this process. Have you brought, or talked to advisors that have helped you? Have you kind of created your own formulaic process? What's been working for you thus far?
yeah, yeah. I definitely, we have a great group of investors, and I think they're also advisors to us. Yeah, so just a great amount of support, and just super, super grateful for. And even in terms of the pipeline, a lot of it are through investor intros. As they understand, like every month I send out an investor update, and it's always like almost like I'm giving them a little homework, referrals and introductions, this and
Yeah,
that. Yeah. And they also helped tremendously in kind of formulating the strategy, right? Just because they've investing in a lot of companies. They've seen what works, what doesn't work, right? For example, like founder-led sales, right? This is something they think is very important, right? They see is you both you accelerate the best person to sell the product at this stage are the founders, right? And they even told me, which I didn't know before, they went, Maria, you're pretty good at this. I'm like, really? Okay, I can do it. Yeah,
I
yeah, but
love
I
it.
do find personally it was a pleasant surprise. I love talking to customers, either as cold calling,
Mhm.
or through introduction, because I'm just always so excited to learn about a new business, right? Oh, what is it like? What are your challenges? What is just that curiosity and just meeting with really brilliant people across different industries. And then, of course, on the other side, I'm always like, oh, you got to check this out. Look at what we built. So, yeah, I actually love that part of my job. Going back to wearing many hats and CEO, definitely I call it the see everything all, right? You just got to do
Yeah,
everything. Yeah,
I love it. And you're proud of what you've built. So you want to show people and you're excited to get feedback and want to continue to make it
absolutely.
better.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
You mentioned that, you give homework to some of your investors
Yeah.
and that they've been really helpful in facilitating introductions. Talk to me about the process of determining who you wanted to go into business with and what it's like navigating the world of venture capital, and how you established, okay, I think these are good partners for me, for my initial fundraising.
I think if to share with the listeners, one thing is to do build a network, and build strong relationships. Although like Tim and I haven't been founders for quite a few years, we still kind of have a lot of relationships. And when we kind of say, "Hey, we started a company," it kind of happened organically. I wouldn't say it was easy, but I do really value, these relationships, these understanding, and support, right? Because in such
Mhm.
early stage, um, it's betting on the founders, right, more than the business plan, right? So I
Yeah.
do think that comes through. I wouldn't say we had a super good pitch or anything, but I really think the investors just believed in the three of us coming together. We'll build value, right? Build value, and also
Mhm.
on the other side, manage risk. And of course, the other part is really, really important. I know the fund you work at also is believing in this platform shift, right?
Mhm.
That gives a startup a little bit of a window that you have a little bit of an advantage.
Mhm.
Otherwise, how do you compete with these massive, massive tech companies with trillions of dollars behind them
Yeah.
and billions of users, right? So there's a very clear asymmetry in this round, as us as serial entrepreneurs, this round more than ever, the asymmetry or the advantage big tech companies have. But then is just the agility, speed, and also kind of business strategy, right? Find that gap. So also I think timing is really important. And then the investors all believed in, we all share the same belief, this investment thesis, right? There's going to be opportunities. There's going to be a new wave of tech companies, right, that delivered a tremendous amount of value. I do think it's like a short window of opportunity, and hopefully we are in the forefront and we'll be able to capture this opportunity very quickly.
Yeah. Awesome. Maybe walk us through how your initial customers were excited enough and you provided them with enough certainty that you could get the job done.
Yeah, one is like I shared earlier, I talked with like over 100 businesses. I used to have spreadsheets that I track. See the number go higher and higher.
Yeah.
I need to refresh that spreadsheet, but it's definitely over 100, including I went to multiple trade shows. We just stood there and did demo, not to sell the product, but just get feedback and get their
Mhm.
reaction. We conducted user studies. We did a bi-coastal user study. We have another national level user study, multi-demographic coverage, right? So it always, I would say, I so appreciate, the three launch partners that we have. I really think of them as partners, less as customers, right? And I just have so much gratitude to that they they trusted us and, had a leap of faith. Early adopters is actually, the term is a little bit misleading. It's not about who adopts early, who adopts late, right? I think it's about that ambition, right?
Yeah.
And then that commitment to serve their customers, right? To deliver the very best possible experience to their customers. And they all really very much have a very strong brand. They believe in their brand. They want to, kind of really amplify this brand. And the other thing is tech savvy. What it translates to is actually they're very good at change management. They know how to manage. It's not about blindly. I'm taking more. No, it's they know how to manage risk. They know how to adopt a new technology. They understand the change, how it impacts their operations, their business, their branding, their marketing, their customer user experience, ultimately their revenue. So it's all kind of conducted very thoughtfully. Actually, I've been working with them for quite a while. It takes a lot of conversations, do user study, I do user research, do market research. Yeah, and then get on this journey to work together with your customers as partners, right, to deliver this new experience together.
Awesome. Awesome. I want to wrap with some advice that you might have for first-time founders. So this is your second go around. I'm sure that there's been learnings in both, but talk to me about maybe just some words of wisdom or yeah, just more general advice for folks that are thinking about embarking on the founder journey.
Yeah. One thing, this is advice that I received and I'm playing forward and passing it on is really to go out there, talk to your customers. I see a lot of founders just kind of imagined scenario and did a lot of theorizing. Everything looks good on paper. And that's important, right? We do need to form a thesis. We can't be having random conversations with people. They need to be directed and targeted, but definitely have these conversations. Be open-minded. That one is uh, not to get the confirmation bias, to have a stronghold, but be open-minded, to be invalidated with the original hypotheses. I
Yeah.
personally benefited, so much from this advice. It was counterintuitive to me initially, right? I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people. And then what do I say to these people? Because I didn't even have a product, right? And I have a
Right.
thesis, right? But um, and you do need to go through that hurdle a little bit to be effective in having these, almost like an interview, like you're interviewing someone, you're trying to kind of get this information and validate your
Totally.
hypothesis. It took a lot of time and effort, but it's totally worth it. And as a company as a whole, we will kind of continue to do that in a more systematic way, not just the founder going out having, but like I said, we're conducting a nationwide user study.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay. So, a book, a podcast, or a resource that you feel every founder should know about.
Yeah. And of course, your podcast, I think you just
Thank you.
started, but I feel very good. I think is super helpful for
Thank
founders
you.
in particular. The book would be The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz.
Mm,
Tim Hall's my co-founder is an important part of that book. I read that book before and I read it again. I just get even new learnings. And even we said it is really hard. And I think that book was so honest and so vulnerable, and just the learnings are very profound.
awesome. Okay, great. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. You've been so insightful and so incredibly helpful. So, thank you for joining my founder therapy series, Maria. You've been lovely.
Thank you. You have been so helpful too. And so we'll definitely follow up. Thank you.
100%. We'll continue to talk through go to market hiring, talent. I'm here to support you as a friend
All right.
however I can.
Thank
So
you. Thank
we'll
you
make
so
sure we do
much.
so. Yes. And thank you all for listening to Never Too Early. More to come soon.